All right. So, B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach. I don't know which installment is this. The third installment, I think. And again, everything I say here is for myself. It's not like, I would be an authority on Chinuch. Says Rav Wolbe, we have to have in mind, Chinuch is mainly for the long run, for later. And that is the planting that we're talking about. You are thinking not for now, you're thinking for the future. That's how it has to be. When the child is 3, 4, 2 even, right, you have to take into consideration that this child, this youth, will be 13, 14. And when he will reach that age, he is entering a very harsh period. Early teenage years are very harsh, very tough for the kids. In order for the kids to be able to go through that stage, they need help. They need all the help they can get. And one of the most important things for them to be able to go through this stage is to be connected to the parents. Really. I mean, if they don't have you, they'll find someone else. And you don't want that someone else. It's very hard. It's that age is not 12, 13, 14. That age is a tough period. And if they don't have that relationship, that connection with the parents, it'll be very hard. So if the parents are being tough and military style, and I want to make sure he's this, he's that, he's doing all these things when he's 2, 3, 4, and it's a very dry chinuch. If they hit him, if they scream at him, if they demand above his abilities, they're ruining their warm relationship with the child. That's what's going to happen. Now, when you're in it, when the child is in that age, right, at that early stage, you will not see anything. He's not missing anything. The child, Baruch Hashem, is like, everything is going normal, everything is good. Why? Number one, he still needs you, right? Still, the child still needs the parents, and he loves the parents. The parents are giving him whatever it is, true, they're like disciplining him like that, but at the same time, they're feeding him, they're taking care of him. There is a natural love that there is between the parents and the child is getting that. So he's still dependent. But as time grows, as time moves on, right, when he's 14 years old, he's a lot more independent. He's a lot more on his own. Doesn't need you as much. Then the parents come screaming and crying and surprised. I don't know what's going on with my kid. What happened to him? He was such a cute little kid, and now he doesn't even talk to me. I have no idea what's going on in his life. He doesn't come and tell me anything anymore. I lost him. That's what the parents would say, and they do. A lot of parents, we are all at a loss. What's going on with my child? What's happening with him? Says Rav Wolbe, when parents come to me in these situations, they have their child is 13, 14, 15, and they don't know. They're asking me, what do I do? How do I connect with my child? Why is he not talking to me? So I asked them, tell me, did you ever strike your child when he was 3 years old? And usually the answer is, yes, of course, I had to discipline him. So then I answered, now you're paying for what you did then. That's what he's saying. If you strike him, if you hit him, it's under the banner of Chinuch. That's not tzemicha. That's not growth. That's not organic growth. And if anything, he's going to that behavior, that striking, all of that stays within the child, and they are in his subconscious. They're boiling inside, brewing. The child doesn't even know it, right? They're totally hidden underneath, and when he grows up, and these things come out. These things come out, and it could even reach a level that he hates the parents, right? And unfortunately, the parents see that they've lost their relationship to the child. For the parents, it's very painful, and for the child, it's very damaging. It is what it is. That's for sure. Unfortunately, we're living in a generation of generation gap. There's a lot of generation gap. Where Simcha Wasserman used to say, he said, what caused the generation gap? It's the parents saying, "My son, the doctor." That's a famous Simcha Wasserman line. The parents, wanted, to be known. They wanted to be famous. They never made it. Poor things, they were all immigrants or whatever it was. They didn't have the ability, and they were pushing their kids to put him in a mold that they didn't belong in, and the kids were doing whatever it is that they were doing. They became "My son, the doctor," but they were lost to the parents. They had no connection. Nothing. That's unfortunately not looking ahead. That's unfortunately losing that trust, losing that connection between the parents. When they're tiny, that's when we connect. That's when we could deal with them. Says Rav Wolbe that the chinuch of the youth, right? You have to look ahead, right? You have to look ahead. You have to build a warm connection with the child, right? So this way, when the child reaches the age, the teenage years, which is a very rough age, right? You're gonna be able to be at his side. You're gonna be able to help him. You're gonna be able to talk to him and understand him and bring out, take care of his concerns. I'm telling you, if we don't do it, when they do reach that age, there are many people that would listen to them in that age, and he doesn't want to talk to you because he doesn't have that connection. He'll go talk to others. Sometimes parents think, they don't think long term. They think we're right now, and they say, "Look, it worked, right? It worked. I smacked him across the face, and now he's quiet." Right? And unfortunately, it's true. We think we're proud. Oh yeah, I did it, but really, it's a premature joy and happiness, right? For this, unfortunately, parents would pay, and it would be very hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but at Hashem, it's always it's never a lost cause, but it's tough. It would be tough. When we have the connection, continuous. You give the child kavod, the respect, when he's little. Number one respect is when he's talking to you. Don't say I don't have time. Right? When he's coming to talk to you, look at him and talk to him. Give him that kavod. That's he feels he or she feels I'm someone. I am important. There's a story with the famous rabbi. He was very busy. He had a few yeshivot to run. He had a few organizations that he had. Extremely busy. He was talking to his son, and a very important guest came. A very important guest came to his house, and to talk to him. So the rabbi said, "I'm very sorry. I'm very busy right now." He was talking to his son. "I'm very busy right now." As he was walking, he said it loud enough so his son would hear. And then as he was walking the guest out, he quietly told him, "Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to show my son how important he is to me. That's these little things, they add up. Like, even at a young age, kids pick up these hints. So that's something that we always have to bear in mind. It's the long term. Yes, psychology tries to make life very easy for us. We become the center. But Torah, it's not about that. You have to see what is the best for the child. Our goal is to make an Oved Hashem. That's our goal, right? Without concern for my well-being and so on and so forth. I'm just a host. We're just hosts for these children. Like, this is what we have to bear in mind. Yes, sometimes it's nerve-wracking. They don't listen to you. They upset you. They try. You mean well. We want to do the best for them, and sometimes it gets the best of us. And we have to come back and remember: is this helpful for the long term? Number one, is this something that would help him personally or not? And so on and so forth. These are questions that we have to keep asking ourselves.
So with the respect thing, like, how is it practical? Like, when you have like a bunch of little ones and they all want your attention at the same time, and they're all talking at the same time, and like, how do you implement that?
I'll tell you, it definitely is not easy. It's definitely not easy, especially like they're kids. They're very young, and each one thinks the whole world is theirs, right? So how dare someone else step into their territory, their world, and and the talking becomes screaming, and the screaming turns into crying, and then it doesn't stop there. They start fighting, pushing each other, smacking each other. I'm talking, why are you talking? Yes, it's very normal. But our job is to keep our cool and to show our love. That's what they need, And then we have to come up with a solution. Your turn, my turn, his turn, like that. But the main thing is that we don't raise our voice. Really, raising our voice is damaging. It's damaging. Sometimes it's necessary, seldom. And that's another key. There are certain things that we have to keep in our arsenal, but they should not be used. Rav Narch Orlovik Shlita says that a person should not tell his kids, "I promise," right? Get that out of your vocabulary, because if you say "I promise," really, like that, then if you say it all the time, they have no chashivut, they have no importance for it. Keep it for emergency cases. Then they know, what, my mother never says "I promise," and she's saying it now. Whoa, this is serious. And so on and so forth. All these things, we have to be very picky with them, and that also, all of that goes into that kavod, that trust. That to build that trust, that they trust us, that we mean the best for them, that they trust us and we trust them. That's a bond that's created. Not easy. It's very, very hard to build that. Okay. The next thing, and this is a lot of work, is tuning the chinuch to each child individually, right? That's something that we have to be aware of, right? So that we have to realize and recognize in each child what they're about. Like this child, he wants to play, right? Can't sit. And there's another child, he's quiet. He could take a book and read a book 20 hours a day. Each one has their own techunot, they have their own characteristics. Not one of them is similar to the other. You can't say, your brother did this, so obviously you're going to have to do the same. If the parents don't know this, and they attribute certain strengths, certain characteristics to a child, and which is not his, So all the work that you're investing is going to the wall because it's not going to hit the target. Right? Says Shlomo HaMelech, Chanoch lena'ar al pi darko. You have to be mechanech, you have to discipline, you have to raise the child according to his way. Gam ki yazkin lo yasur mimenu. Then when he will get older, he will not veer away from it. If I want to discipline a child, if I want to raise a child, I have to look and see what is his darko. Shlomo HaMelech says, Chanoch lena'ar al pi darko, his way. Not al pi darkecha, not according to your way. Right? He says al pi darko, his personal way. He says if you have a banana tree and you have an apple tree, right? The banana tree needs a certain way to cultivate it, to nurture it. Apple tree is different. And if a person does the same for both, one of them is not going to work. Maybe both of them won't work. Right? It just won't work. Right? The same thing with kids. There's no universal, I did this worked with my first boy, so for sure. Okay, maybe with the girls it won't work, but with my second boy it'll work. With my third boy, it just doesn't work. The Gaon Mevilna says, on this pasuk that we just said, he says, Chanoch lena'ar al pi darko. Lena'ar, that means when he's a na'ar, when the child is still very, very, very young. And you find out what is his derech, what is his path. Then, as he grows, he won't go from one way to another. He'll stick to it. Says the Gaon Mevilna, because for a person, it's impossible to break his path, and that's what Shlomo says. Chanoch lana al pi darko, according to his path. Meaning, what is the path? A person has a bechira. A person has free will. What do you mean? Gaon Mevilna means to say that a person has a path, that means that's his mazal. A mazal a person can't change. Right? There are some things that cannot be changed. That means over there in the mazal, under the mazal, there is a certain level of free will, but not a lot. For that he brings proof. There is a very famous Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, Daf Kuf Nun Vav, 156. Very interesting. The few pages there is talking about, is there free will? How does free will work? It's back and forth. So one of the Chachamim says, a person that is born in the constellation of Tzedek, he will be a tzaddik. He will be always charitable, right? And the Gemara moves on, right? Gaon Mevilna says, Ela shenitna habechira beyad adam. There is a free will that a person has. He could choose within his mazal and to change the mazal whichever way he wants, whether to be a tzaddik, whether to be a rasha, or to be a beinoni. Right? And he brings that Gemara that we said. It says over there, a person that is born in the constellation of Ma'adim. Ma'adim, red, Mars, it's all the same. He says, this person, the Gemara says, he will be a person that will spill blood. That's what the Gemara says. Ashid Dama, he'll spill blood. So, Amar Ravashi says, I Umna, he could be a bloodletter. That's back in the day. A doctor, what would they do? They had a special thing that they would pierce a person's shoulder and they would draw blood from him, and that would contain toxins, and this is the way they would heal a person. He would be dead for a day because all that blood left him, until he replenishes it. But okay, that was a way to help people that were sick. Or he's going to be Ganava. He's going to be a robber. Kills people. Stands on the highways, freeways, and whatever highways. Or Tabacha. He's going to be a Shochet. Or Mohala. Or he's going to be a Mohel. Right? Says Gaon Mevilna, the Gemara picks these 4 examples on purpose. Because the Gemara is trying to teach us, right, that this person could be a tzaddik. If he's a tzaddik, if he takes that power, if he takes that characteristic of spilling blood and uses it For a mitzvah, which is to be a mohel, that's a mitzvah. And a boy, 8-day-old boy, has to have a brit milah, and he uses that power for that. Perfect. He's a tzaddik. If he wants to be someone in between, he's going to be a shochet. You don't have to be a shochet. It's not a mitzvah to be a shochet. It's nice if someone wants to eat meat. You have to do shechita. But let's say a person wants to eat fish or is vegan, then okay. But he's still Beinoni. He's there, right somewhere in the middle. Or the doctor, also he's in the middle. But if he's a rasha, if he decides, if he makes that choice of being a rasha, chas v'shalom, God forbid, then he's going to use that mazal that's inside him for that.
So he has the mazal when he's born, but he can choose how to use the mazal, but that only happens when we're young.
Well, the Gaon Mevina is saying, catch him then. Catch him when he's young. This way he could take that mazal and guide it to the right path.
Like kind of shaping their minds or how they're...
Exactly. I remember when I was in yeshiva, a Rebbe said he said, could you imagine a cement truck, right? The cement is coming down. Now, you have a choice. You could use that cement to make a good road to help everyone, to have a nice, well-cemented road or a roof or whatever it is. Or you want to be nice, you could make a statue with it. Or you could bury someone under the cement truck. Which one is it? It's all the same. The cement is coming down. How are you going to guide it? That's the mazal. Mazal means it's coming down. You know that. Mazal comes from zol. Zol means cheap. Cheap, that means it was expensive. Now it's cheap. Tizal hadal midolyo, pasuk says. That means the water comes down, right? Something that comes down is zal, right? Just look at the letter zayin, right? The top is like this, it's a square, and then it comes down. So anything that comes down. So mazal is something that comes down. Here also, this energy comes down. How is he going to use it? The energy comes from that ma'adim story over there, but then how is this person going to use it?
I'm saying, how do you know the mazal of the child? From the birth?
We have to look at him. No, that's one way, but we have to see him. You have to pay attention.
Personality,
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah. You have to pay attention to his personality, to his behavior, what he's interested in, what he's not interested in. Very important. Very important. By the games that he plays with, the toys that he chooses.
How do you figure that out? I feel like
He's
it's
a
so...
deep thinker and he sits down for asking
Yeah.
many. So he's good with Gemara.
Who
I
knows?
told my sons, it shows that you have such a patience and he's very good with Gemara.
It's a nice thing to say to them, but again, it's good. It could be an encouragement, but at the same time, you have to see. You have to really pay attention. It could be many
Is it
things.
good to say to your son like that? I heard that you put a lot of pressure on your son to be like a good in Gemara when he was a child and playing and fixing the mathematic things at home. So I told him, you're so good with mathematics and fixing things and Lego and something. You're a deep thinker, you're going to be a good Talmid Chacham.
Yeah.
So somebody told me you don't talk to your child like that because you put a lot of pressure for him to be a
We're gonna see.
Talmid Chacham.
We're gonna see. So such person that is born in this mazal, right? We said he has an array of possibilities, that he could use this. Each child according to his level, right? But you cannot change him from the yesod, from that foundation to totally something else. You can't make this child into a charitable person, as if someone was born in the mazal of tzedek. It won't work. He says like this, Rav Wolbe, you have a child, he's always moving around, right? You're not going to change this kid into a kid that's going to sit 20 hours and learn. He's not, right? And if you force him, you're ruining him. If you force him and say, no, do this, you're ruining him. Or you're losing him, right? What's going to happen is, he has his own derech. Whatever you do there, fine, he'll stay in that derech, in that where you place him. But he's going to find his own derech. And he's going to do whatever he wants, far from what the parents wanted. Gaon Mevina says, "V'hainyan barur." This is clear. Where do you see that? Hashem tells Shemuel Hanavi, I want you to go after Shaul was, the whole thing with Shaul didn't work out. Shemuel is very sad, of course. His apprentice who became the king it didn't work out. Hashem tells him, go anoint one of the sons of Yishai. Go to Beit Lechem. He goes and sends a message to Yishai, bring your kids, one of them is going to be king. And, one by one, they bring him, and he thinks, wow, Eliyav, he's it, this is it, this guy's good-looking, strong, Shevet Yehuda. Comes in, stands up for him, Hashem tells Shemuel, what are you standing up for? Forget him. One after another, right? There were 8 boys, only 7 were there. He goes through everyone, and Hashem says no. And Shemuel turns to Yishai, the father, he says, Tamu ha'narim, but no more, you have no more kids? He says, yeah, we have one more. He's out there with the sheep. He's like, come on, I wasn't joking with you, I said, bring your boys. So they had their reason. They bring David. As soon as David comes, the oil in the jar came out to go towards David. Hashem tells Shemuel, what are you sitting for? Stand up. This is the king of Israel. What happened to David? David walks in, Shemuel gets scared. You know why? Because of the color of his hair. There was only one more person that they knew with the color of the hair, and that was scary. So he says, David, Admoni im yefe einayim. Right? He's Admoni with yefe einayim. What's the word einayim used in the Torah? Sanhedrin. That means David, yes, true. He is going to be spilling blood. He was born in the Mazal of Ma'adim. But, yefe einayim, he will not do anything without the permission of Sanhedrin. Everything was done in accordance with the Torah. That's where he is. And that's the leader. That's the one that Hashem chose to be the king, the head of the Davidic dynasty. That's David HaMelech. And he says, Shemuel got scared because he saw that that's his Masal. He goes, oh no, Hashem says, no, this is him. Right? This is the one. And that is, Gaon Mevila continues right after. He says, Zehu shene'emar, that is what it says, Chanoch lenar al pi darko. His Masal, yes, within his nature, whatever he is, train him, teach him to do the mitzvot. Person tries to teach him to do mitzvot under different circumstances, and the child is really in a different wavelength. When he grows up, he'll go back to his own wavelength, and he won't even know how to do the mitzvot when he's there, because you taught him to do mitzvot in a different wavelength, and he's not there. That's exactly what we're talking about. The child is in this mazal. You gotta see what you can do with him in this situation. How he could be the best he can in this situation. He says, the Gaon Mevilna, aval achar kach, later, be'et yusar ulacha, when your yoke is off of his neck, he's going to let go of the Torah and the mitzvot that you've tried, because he will not be able to break away from his mazal. If you force him on a different path that is not for his nature, he'll listen to you now. Of course he'll listen to you now. And you won't see anything wrong. But as time moves on, right, later, when he's already independent, he's not scared of you anymore, he will listen. He says this is a very important rule in Chinuch. He says there are some parents that they have an issue with this, and it's a terrible, terrible sin, he says. It has horrible outcomes. He says, I remember a person came to our yeshiva. He was a known tzaddik. He came with his boy. When he introduced his son to Rav Wolbe, he told him, my son has the attribute of being bashful. He's very baishan. He's very bashful. Like, as in, he's praising him. He says, really, he was a very quiet kid. And when we talked to him, he wouldn't even answer. He says, as time went on, I saw that this silence wasn't because he was bashful. The father, he was such a great tzaddik, he did not allow his kids to go out of the house. He didn't let them go play. They have to learn. Bitul Torah, they're wasting their time. Right? Games, basketball, this is a waste of time. So the child was filled with hatred towards his father. Rav Wolbe says, I was not successful to get that hatred out of his heart. He grew, let go of mitzvot, everything. He got married to a secular wife. Done. Never heard of him again. He says that all came, they had great intentions. They had great intentions to make him a great tzaddik, but they didn't pay attention to him personally. What is he? What is he? He says that type of a chinuch, you build a mold and the child has to fit in that mold. He says that's very destructive. So to finish this segment off, he says, we could a little bit understand what chinuch is. A little bit, right? He says chinuch has to allow them to grow, right, according to their path, right, and based on that to build, right. He says to build. What do you build? His midot, his behavior, right, and then he has to choose. He has to find his path, and within the path, grow organically, while you're teaching him midot. Midot are universal. How a person has to control over his anger, over his arrogance, and all of these things, laziness, all these things, that takes building. We have to build. If you don't let him grow, what do we say? He's going to become a robot, right? But if you just let him grow, he's going to be a wild plant. Says that we have to be very careful with. So that was the first segment in the Sefer, which is extremely important. Just to be aware and to pay attention, that a person has to realize there's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and the Minister of Education in Russia always. Overoff. He asked Rav Chaim Volozhin one time. Rav Chaim Volozhin was the founder of the yeshiva system that we have. He was the student of the Gaon of Vilna, Rav Chaim Volozhin. He asked him, when does a Jewish child's discipline and education begin? So right away he said 20 years before the child is born. Right? He says, he's teaching him. He said, listen, if you want to be successful with our children, right, one of the biggest projects that we have, which is the biggest project of our life, we have to build our own personalities before that, way before that. So it's never too late. Bezat Hashem should be matzliach.